Hello and welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 2 of the Jam of All Crafts crochet podcast. So welcome back. Thank you so much for all of your support on my previous podcast episode, and hopefully you'll enjoy some updates and the things that I want to show you today. So sit back and relax. I have my tea here so that I don't lose my voice, but also it's nice to have a cup of tea when you're doing your crafts. So here we go. So where have I been? It has been a long month since the last episode. I have attended the Burton Exhibition at the London Design Centre. That was last month, I believe, or a few weeks ago, and that was an absolutely amazing exhibition for someone who's trying to learn as an artist, or just for inspiration, or just to learn from another inspiring person. It was a really great exhibition to attend, a really great experience. And you may have seen in some of my older my shorts videos, which I tend to use for quick things that I want to share with you. So I have been experimenting with oil pastels. I have no art background or experience with oil pastels. I'm trying to teach myself how to use them, and I got a set of Sennelier pastels from CassArt a few weeks ago, and so I've been enjoying using them. And so I can say that I think it was actually the same day that I went to the Burton Exhibition is when I bought those oil pastels. So you can see the direct inspiration there. But anyway, so that's where I've been. Lots to show you today. So I hope that you will enjoy this podcast. So I think the first thing I'll show you is a bit of an update on something that I was working on in my last video. And before I show it to you, I hesitated before I filmed this, because part of me was thinking, well, I haven't finished it, and if I haven't got a finished object to show you, then is there any point showing you? And then I thought that wouldn't be being realistic, like for a person who is an ordinary person who just likes crafting and who does it in between their day job and between their day-to-day life. This is a realistic amount of progress for me to have made in that period of time. Also, I have lots of other whips on the go, which is probably a bad habit. But anyway, so this was the Agnes Vest, and I will show you the progress I've made. So I have made, so here we go. I have made most of the front panel, and as you'll see, I will have the amazing task of weaving all of these in. So I'm really I'm really not looking forward to weaving all these ends in, but anyway, so this is what it's looking like so far. And I'm not sure about the size, to be really honest, so I'm thinking of maybe adding a few extra rows of ribbing around the armholes and maybe the bottom, just for a bit of length and also a bit of width. But this is where I'm at so far. So I've joined all the squares for the front panel, and then I also have made all the squares, I think all of them bar one, for the back panel. So I just need to join all of these square. I've joined the squares in 3 rows of 3, and then I need to join these together and then create the back panel and then attach it to the front panel. I'm still undecided about whether to add extra squares at the top so that it gives me a bit of hang. And also I'm concerned that with the pattern by Bethany Lynn Makes, which I'll link again below, but it's also my previous podcast, So that pattern seems to only have one square's width for your head to fit through. Now I know that there's expected to be some kind of stretch with the, you know, when you've got neck holes, you've got stretch generally, but I'm still not sure if this will fit over my head. So I might potentially add an additional square at the back, so make it front and back having this scooped neckline, as opposed to her pattern, which is a high back, and then her pattern has a high back and then a front round neck or scooped neckline. So that's where I'm at with this. I'm pretty happy with my progress. I mean, I really wanted to have had a finished object to show you in the second episode, but like I said, I just want to be realistic. I want to be honest. I want to be transparent. I want to be open about things. So this is where I'm at. So that's the first thing. So the next thing I wanted to show you is a bit of an experiment, but also if you could offer me your advice, I'd really appreciate it. So I have this idea for, well, I'll just show you. So I have this idea for decorating or adding crochet edging to towels and tea towels in particular, and small cloths. So this kind of size. And I bought these. I bought a set of 3 or 4 of these from Primark recently, and I did also show some of the process in one of my shorts videos. As I said, you know, I like to use my shorts just to show you. You know, I wouldn't make a whole video about doing something like this, but I wanted to just show that, you know, what I'm working on. So anyway, so I bought this set of waffle cloths from Primark, and I had the idea, or I wanted to try adding edging to it with a contrasting colour in cotton yarn. So I tried my best, and I've made these, I suppose, looping stitches all around the crochet, the towel. I used my crochet hook as the punch, so I punched a hole in, and I was actually using the waffle squares as the guide. So if you can see, I was actually using the waffle squares as a guide for where to punch the holes in with the crochet hook, and then pull it through and then do a series of stitches, which I've completely made up, like there is no pattern. The only thing I'm not sure about is the edges. So where you have the towels, thick edges where, you know, they're folded and sewn, it's really hard to pierce that with your crochet hook. So I have really struggled with that, and I'm not sure how to get around it. So if anyone has any ideas, let me know. I did also get a rotary cutter, one that has like the perforation, so instead of it just being a straight cut, it will have like perforated cutting abilities. So I might try that too, but again, it doesn't really resolve the problem of the thick edge. And I'm sure there's stitches I can do to kind of make a feature of it, but yeah, I thought it would be a nice spring summery thing to make. You know, they're quite nice bright colours. I'm not sure if the camera's picking up just how bright they are, but that's something that I tried, and I will probably do some more. I'll try with the perforated cutter to see if that makes a difference on how neat the stitches are. But if anyone has any ideas for, you know, edging for towels or how to get around this problem, then please let me know. Just thought I'd share that with you. The next thing I want to share with you is what's in my crochet book cover. So last time I shared that I was reading The Birdcatcher, and I had to DNF that book. I really tried with it for a long time. So it was a book that I borrowed from my local library, and I thought the themes were quite interesting. So a friend was supporting another of her friends who had mental health, undisclosed mental health concerns, and she made regular attempts to murder her husband, unsuccessful attempts. And so it was all about, you know, the friend's mental health and how she was being kept out of trouble and the latest attempts and things like that. But I wasn't sure it was the book that I needed at the time. Ironically, when I show you this next book, you might think, well, is this one? I just didn't feel connected enough to the story to continue. So I've returned that to my library now, and I'm reading a book that I own myself, which is The Shutter of Snow. And I bought this book, when did I buy this book? Quite a while ago now, a few months ago. And at the time, I think I bought it in the winter, so the whole title and cover really drew me in. I suppose I'm a sucker for a nice cover, a book cover, so this really drew me in. And it's by Holmes Colman. Why I'm reading this is it does connect to the birdcatcher in ways of the theme. So there are some mental health related themes in this book as well. So this, I'll read the blurb for you. So, some days Martha Gale believes she is God, others Jesus Christ. Her baby, she thinks, is dead. The red light is shining. There are bars on the window and the voices keep talking. Time blurs, snow falls. The doctors tell her it is a breakdown, that this is Gorston State Hospital. Her fellow patients become friends and enemies, moving between the day room and dining hall, East Hall and West Side, and avoiding the strong room. Her husband visits and shows her a lock of her baby's hair, but she doesn't remember yet until she makes it upstairs, ascending towards release. So why I also thought this book was interesting was because the author, Holmes Colman, I understand that this was inspired by her own experience of suffering from postpartum psychosis in a mental asylum. So, yeah, a really interesting read so far. And I'm looking forward to getting stuck into this. This is my tube read. So, you know, my commute to and from work, I will be reading this. And I'm not sure if I showed this actually, because I may have done another shorts video, but I made a bookmark. I made a bookmark out of granny squares, but they are done in a lace weight yarn, and this was from Hobby. I got this lace weight yarn, and so I think I used maybe like a 2mm hook to do these, and then I joined them, and then I've done a picot edging, so you can probably see my little picot stitches there. So I did a picot edging, and I sprayed it with some starch just to stiffen it a bit, and yeah, and that's my little crochet bookmark. So I suppose that's another finished object I can show you since the last podcast episode. So that's that. The next thing I wanted to share with you is a whip, but also an acquisition at the same time. So if you'll remember in my last podcast, and if you haven't watched it, then I will link it for you. But there was a pattern that I was looking at, a summer vest top, summer tank, called the RENO top, or RENO top, I believe. I will double check, but I will link the pattern, and I'll also put some footage on the screen. It's just a simple tank top, you know, vest top I'd call it, but tank top. And So I bought some cotton yarn from Soster and Gren in my last podcast, which I showed you. It was like a dark browny colour, and so I planned to make that RENO top in that colour for summer. And then I paid a visit to Loop Knitting recently, which is amazing, you know, yarn and notions and everything, and advice and workshops. Amazing store in London. And I do also have a video coming up soon where I filmed a little bit of my trip there, but I'll put some footage in this video too to show you. It's a gorgeous shop, lovely cozy little shop. And anyway, so I was looking around, and for some reason I had it in my head that I wanted to try making a garment out of linen. So I've never worked with linen before, and I haven't completed a garment either. But for some reason I was drawn to this. So these, this is BC Garn Lino. It's 100% linen, and it is in the colour 36, which is also, I think it's called amber online as well. So I picked up 3 of these balls of yarn, thinking that I wanted to create a top. And then I remembered the pattern I had, the RENO top, and I thought, oh, that would be a good pattern to use for this linen. So I started, I'll just show you that now. So this is another project bag from Soster and Gran, actually. Really cute. I think it's just a toilet bag, but I'm using it as a project bag. But anyway, so I have started making the RENO top out of this linen, and it has been challenging so far. It's a lovely looking fabric. You can see there's really nice drape to it. It's so light. I'm going to really enjoy wearing it, hopefully, when I finish. But yeah, so the yarn is really nice, I suppose rustic you'd call it. It looks rougher than it feels. It feels, it looks a bit like jute. If, you know, at a glance I would say, oh, that looks like jute, but it has this, I don't know, it's just really comforting, soft feel. It doesn't feel scratchy or anything. And when I was in Loop, London, one of the sales assistants said that this blooms really nicely. And I was like, what do you mean? And she said it kind of puffs out a bit. So I don't know, I haven't tried blocking this, which I know some people will be a bit surprised about. But initially I made like a little swatch, and I think I used a 3.5mm hook for this one. And I was just doing double crochets for this one. I really should have blocked it to see how much this yarn blooms, but I'm curious to see how this will stretch out once I've finished it and blocked it, because you can see it's quite lacy looking, I'd say. Maybe there's a bit of coverage, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to completing and wearing this one, and hopefully, if it's successful, I will then make it with that other cotton yarn I made. So then I'll have 2 RENO tops to play with. But yeah, so this has been a really interesting lesson for me. The yarn has been challenging, I'd say, to work with. Like, as I said, I've never worked with linen before. But I found initially when I did that first chain, it's really stiff. So when you make a chain with it, the chain kind of flattens out, and so when you go to do the second round, it's quite hard, it's quite easy to miss a loop because of how flattened the chains are. But after you get past that difficult stage, then you know, it's fairly easy to use, I'll say. It does occasionally split, but that just might be the way I'm using it. But yeah, so this was a really nice find that I picked up in Loop, and I just absolutely love the colour. I think it would be really nice for the summer, and I can see it's something that I'll treasure for years to come. So I'm really looking forward to finishing that. You can see that there's lovely stitches there, lovely colours. But yeah, so there's that. Stemming from that, I also picked up some other things from Loop. Now, as I mentioned, I made a trip to Loop recently, and so, you know, I showed you that linen yarn. So that was my second trip to Loop. I had visited Loop maybe a good few months ago now, and I got some things then. And this is before I started sharing my crafting on YouTube. So I'll show you some of those things just because I got them from the same store and they're still fresh in my mind. So the earliest things I picked up, so the things before this recent visit I made, I'll show you now. The first thing, which I think is unusual, so it's this O'Share Mondofill pom-pom, or O'Share pom-pom, and it's 55% acrylic and 45% nylon, and it's a pom-pom yarn. You see that there? It's a really interesting pom-pom yarn, and it's a really interesting pom-pom yarn. At the time when I picked this up, I was really into making scrunchies. You've seen a couple of them in videos I've shown in the past, so I thought this yarn would be really nice edging for the scrunchies, be an interesting texture and some bright colour and things like that. I haven't used it yet. I did do a swatch though to see how I could use it, and I just held it with some acrylic yarn in a contrasting colour just to see how the pom-poms would sit, and it looks a bit like this. So I made a mini granny square with it, and you can see it just sort of flex out the square, and it gives it a nice texture and colour. So I'm thinking of ways to use it. I could, looking at this now, I wonder if it would be interesting to add these pom-poms as a final border at the bottom of this linen top. I don't know. But anyway, it's really interesting. I'm looking forward to finding ways to use it. And I love all things Japanese, and this is actually made in Japan. So I was a sucker here for this. But I just thought a really interesting thing to add to my crafting stash, because it will give me, I suppose, some interesting textures and interesting and fun things to add to my craft. So I'm looking forward to using this. So that's the first, or that's another thing. That's another thing that I picked up from Loop. In my first visit to Loop, I also picked up this book, and it is Darning by Hikaru Noguchi. And it is, I'm blown away. So Hikaru has an amazing Instagram page where they show visible mending. I've just been intrigued by the way that they use threads and wools to repurpose old items, but to give them a new life, to give them some personality. So I picked up this book on darning, and you'll see some examples of their work here. But they like to use colourful threads and different techniques to darn. And my thought was I could mend some old socks that I have, socks with holes in the toes or in the heel, and I could use different coloured threads, and that would be really making use of old things, recycling old things, upcycling old things, but also adding a bit of design. So this is why I picked this book up. I've never used this before, so maybe if you want to see a video about me darning, which I'm planning to mend some old socks soon, so maybe I'll do a video on it. But I picked up a darning egg, and what I understand is you put the egg inside of, say this is a sock that you want to mend, so you put the egg into the bit where you're trying to darn, and you can pull the fabric tight around it and maybe secure it with a elastic band, and it just makes it easier. It's just like a firm surface for you to work your darning stitches, which a lot of them seem to be like running stitches. So yeah, so I got this darning egg, but Hikaru themselves, they also do darning mushrooms, which are really cute, but they were not in my budget for this visit. So I just picked up one of these. They are made in France, and it's a brand called Saju. And it's lovely wooden darning egg. So yeah, so that's the second thing I picked up. Hopefully I have a pair of jeans and I have some socks that I could really do with mending. So if you're interested in seeing that, let me know. I'll do my best to. It will be a discovery for both of us, put it that way, but I'll do my best to show that project on my channel. So that's that one. And then in my more recent visit to Loop, I picked up their Boulette Scarflet kit. So it's a scarflet kit, and as you can see here, it's a scarflet kit, and mine is in the one that's, I'll open it actually, it's easier. So my scarf colorway is the one that's at the very bottom in the kind of brown and green colors, just my preferred colors, and it's made up of granny squares. It is hand-dyed yarn. Never used hand-dyed yarns before, so this was a really good opportunity to get to use some interesting yarns. And so the kit comes with the pattern. So there's the pattern there. And it comes with, oh, I'm looking at this for the first time actually. So, and then it comes with a Loop London project bag. So you see that there. And here are the yarns, and it's by, oh, it's specially made for Loop, and it's by Vilaine. So hand dyed in France. And some of the colours I just thought were funny. So painting with dragon's blood, and Agatha's crimes, and what's that one? Something in the golden fields, like really cute names. And these are all in 100% superwash merino, and they are fingering yarn. So you get a nice selection of colours there. So there's that. And they're mini, I don't know what they're called, mini boulettes, I think. And then you also get a huge or a single skein of yarn, which is like the backing yarn, or the yarn that ties all the other squares together. And this one, you can probably see the labels a bit clearer, but that's Vilaine. And lovely colour. This colour is Putting Pretty Leaves in the Herbarium, which I think is a very nice name for a very nice yarn. So yeah, I love that colour. And again, yeah, so this is superwash merino. Lovely. So really nice set there. So you get everything to make your scarves. I'll show you some pictures there. So really nice project. I'm looking forward to starting this one, but I won't be starting it for a while because I've made quite a few different projects with granny squares in them recently. So I think I will take a break from the granny squares finish my linen top, and then maybe I'll be ready for squares again. So yeah, that's that boulette scarflet kit. Lovely. The final thing I picked up is just some wool wash. I'm hoping to finish my granny square vest soon, so then I'll want to wash it, but I just think it's handy to have. I don't have any wool wash, and I'll want to wash my projects when I'm finished with them. So it's in jasmine, so Eucalan in jasmine. So that's that. So updates on previous projects. Previously I showed you, what was it, plane going over? Previously I showed you a wool project I was working on, which was the Diablo vest. It was a lovely kind of textured, vest. I have put that project on hold just because the weather warmed up a bit. And when it's that warm, I didn't really feel like handling heavy wool. But maybe on days like today where it is quite dull here in London, then it's a nice day to get out the wool. But on really hot days, which we've had some really nice hot weather recently, I just really haven't felt like working with wool. So I've put that one on hold. But it's in progress, but it's I think I have some more summer things that I want to do first before I then, because I don't think I'll make it won't be the right time to wear it now, so I'll just slow the production on that one a bit. I'll slow my making. I showed you some library books I picked up before. I really think that local libraries are amazing. I would say to anyone getting into crafts or looking at arts and things like that, to check your local library. They have some amazing books and you don't need to spend any money to use them. And they're great for ideas, for patterns and things like that. So I have actually really discovered that my local library does some really, really great craft books that have given me some great ideas, and I wanted to share some of those with you. Some recent ones that I've picked up. I think I showed you one last time, which was a pom-pom, the pom-pom making one. I think I showed you before. I'm sure I had another one, but I'm not sure if I showed that to you. I'll show you a couple that I got recently, that I've borrowed recently, I should say. So the first one is Weaving, and it's by Mary Maddocks. So Weaving. So I mentioned in my first podcast that I showed you actually some mini woven tapestries that I did, and I did them on a mini loom. So a slightly smaller version of what you see here on the cover of this book. But yeah, this book has amazing projects, amazing tips, and really lovely photography. So if you're interested in weaving, or getting started with weaving, this is such a cool book. And I got it for ideas, really. So I have woven before. I've done many different woven things, but I'm all self-taught, so it's always nice to learn kind of tips and techniques and things like that. So this book has been a really nice source of inspiration. Weaving is such a slow craft, and I love slow crafts, as you'll learn on this channel. So I'm glad I picked this book up. I'm going to use it for some inspiration for some projects. It's just really easy to sit on your sofa, maybe in the evenings when you're watching TV and winding down from a day at work, and you can work on your weaving project, with a portable loom. So I bought one from Amazon maybe 2 years ago, and portable loom, it's probably a bit bigger than an A4. Actually, it's probably A4 sized, A4 UK paper size, and so you can't make huge projects on it. I haven't figured out a way to want to do that, but maybe you can make panels and stitch them together or whatever. But anyway, so this is the first book that I picked up from my local library on weaving. The next book I picked up is Crochet Squares by Maria Gullberg, and this book is absolutely, yeah, absolutely stunning. As you can see, various different it goes beyond a granny square, I'll say, and I feel like this really, if I show you the back as well, I feel like this really got me inspired when it comes to crochet. And unfortunately I had planned to just borrow this, but I think I might have to get my own copy of this because I really don't want to I can't obviously keep the library book, but I'm just saying I really would want to keep this book in my craft book collection because it's so inspirational, and it's, yeah, I'm blown away by some of the patterns that you can see there. I mean, just by making squares in various geometric combinations, you can create some really interesting effects. And just to take my crochet to a different level. So I'm really looking forward to trying some motifs from this book. And although I've borrowed it just to have a look, I think I may be acquiring this myself soon. So watch this space. I didn't pick up the whole book because it was a knitting related book. But it is, I love Harry Potter. It's probably a millennial thing. So I love Harry Potter, and there was a Harry Potter knitting magic book by Tanis Gray, and I had a flick through in my library, and then I thought, oh, this is amazing, but I don't knit at the moment, so I don't want to check out the knitting book. But I did photocopy some of the pages as inspiration for me. So the one that caught me were these mischief managed socks. They're beautiful photos. So these mischief managed socks, so on the soles are mischief managed, and, or they're called Marauders socks in here, and it's designed by Lisa Ross. And why I photocopied this was because I found that on the legs, so on the soles they say mischief managed, and then on the legs they say, I solemnly swear I'm up to no good. And if you know Harry Potter, you'll know those lines. But why I picked this up was because of this chart. And the reason I got this chart is so that I can practice doing crochet tapestries or cross stitch or something like that. So I thought I could incorporate some of my love of Harry Potter into my crochet or cross stitching project, or even embroidery project. So that's why I copied this. Now I don't want to show too much because it's someone else's copyright, shall we say. It's for my personal use, so I'm just using it for inspiration. But I will link the book, actually, if I can find it online. I'll link all these books so that you can see if your library has it. Maybe you'll want to take them out and have a look yourself. But yeah, that's the third book, but rather just copy of a thing that I thought was really cool, and I wanted to show you. So that's that. Now I wanted to talk a bit about future plans, and the first thing is a crochet along, and I have never done one before, and it's something that popped up and I thought that was really cute. So it's a summer picnic crochet along. So you work over 6 weeks to create a picnic blanket with Sirdar, and yeah, I thought it might be a really nice project to do. It seems to be for beginners, so with a bit of my crochet experience I should be able to do it. But I just don't know if I want the pressure of a weekly, having to keep up with a weekly target. So have any of you taken part in a crochet along before? If you have, then let me know how it was, but I'm still unsure about this one. The final future plan to share with you is a gorgeous cardigan from Sirdar also. It's called a Daydream cardigan in Sirdar Stories DK, so I'm guessing that's their specific line of their yarn. Love the idea of a cardigan like this for the summer. And I mean, I would love to make it in cotton, maybe blended with linen. I think that might give it a nice light fabric. I really love the way it looks. Again, this looks to be another project where you make squares and you join them. In this case, I think they're hexagons. So you make the hexagons and then you join them. So similar to another granny square project, but I think I would get so much wear out of this. It will hopefully be a piece that I will have for a very long time in my wardrobe. So that's everything I have to share with you today. And I really hope you've enjoyed spending some time together looking through my projects and getting some updates. I talked a little bit more about the book I was reading and my last abandoned book, future projects. So let me know if you have any ideas, as I mentioned, for this. I'd love to hear from you, so feel free to leave me a comment, like or subscribe for more of these types of videos. Until then, I'll see you in my next one.